Okay, here we are. I got this cute background here to make it cozy and sweet for this month of July because I have a surprise. Not only is it a year, I can't even believe that I can say that, a year since we've started this podcast on YouTube and just have put something out that has to do with astrology, with time management, with the world and how to stay intact and centered within ourselves as our minds, our bodies are we're changing, we're morphing, the world is where it's at, right? But we don't want to forget ourselves, forget our ethics, forget our moral compass, what feels right to us and what does not feel right to us, and that stays as our navigation system. So, I know let's see, today is actually July 16th. Now, let me just tell you, Cancer season we had a discussion. And so just to preface, my mom passed away in 2023, right in September. And in a way, now I am very much into astrology, right? It happened literally like I was thankfully there during the last 2 weeks, of her life. And so when someone is passing on, it can take time. And being in a hospice center for really it was a few hours once there is that knowing and there is an exiting that is happening, they transfer the patient. And hopefully, they get the chance to be in a different place while they can die. And during that time, going from hospital and buzzing and beeps and so much to look at, and nurses and doctors and conversations, and the amount of alert and awareness that my mind, body, and soul and heart and everything just was in. There's really no time to process what is happening. And hey, Leo. Leo just came up and said, "Hello, do you need me?" And so I say that because when we as a family were with my mom during those moments, I noticed, oh, this is kind of wild, but it was a new moon in Virgo. And it was supposed to be a new moon right around 8 p.m. And this was obviously in 2023. So this was before I was really tracking, the planets and the conversations and like what I was finding within myself when I was spending time with astrology in this way. And this is kind of one of the moments that I was drawn to learn more. And my mom took her last breath literally like right at 8 o'clock on the new moon in Virgo. I still am processing that whole experience, but also that timing, the just the opening of the energy. And whether you're with someone who just had a baby, the process of birth and the process of dying, very different, very similar, right? There is a process of something is ending for good and something is beginning for good. Um, and and when I say for good, something's ending for good, it means it's done, right? You can't go backwards. It's happened, whether it feels good or not. It's happened for good. Like that's it. And until you've been in one of those situations, either within your life, I'm sure you have. I'm sure you've had plenty of those moments. My conversation within myself to start this July forecast was, well, tell them what Mars and Virgo is really teaching you this month, because right now Mars is in Virgo. And I feel like, whether you have Virgos in your life, it's usually around, end of August to September. It's just such an interesting season of harvesting, and we get back to school and we got to get organized and we got to, there's there's a purpose and a meaning and gotta go details, oh, let's add this and put this here and you know. So Mars in Virgo right now was like, we're going to have you spend time with that feeling of your interaction with astrology during a time of utter devastation and the realization everything is about to change. I say that because I'm the oldest, right? So I was aware of not only the oldest and only daughter, losing her mother, right? And, I'm the only girl besides my brothers. So it's just like such a different dynamic, right? So then to also then see my brothers are losing their mother, my father is losing his partner. And till death do you part, you be with each other in the living and the dying, all of that stuff. It just was this big moment of receiving what is. And I say that I kind of start, I didn't know I was going to go all the way in this at the start. Now it is Cancer season. So Cancer season is about the mother energy, I like to say like the hostess with the mostess, the one who greets you at the door, invites you in, says, "Hi, welcome to my home," which is why I was like, let me just find like a really cute, cozy background. Cancer is also it's like the home, the like your home, your body, right? The home of your mind. What is holding yourself, your business, your family, whatever you want to put in the blank, that you're understanding and working on in this time. When we are at a world point, we're at this really fragile and vulnerable place of change within the world. And just like birth, when the baby's coming out, everything just bloop, 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 bloop. Like when the baby comes out, the baby comes out. You know what I mean? Whether you're ready or not, it's like it's a literal part of the experience of the miracle of something else is pushing us and moving us, besides, gravity or like our personal selves. There is another force, another source that is at play here. So with the birth energy and with the death energy, I was realizing, wow, and then we got this in between place that we call life, right? And then all this stuff happens. And we usually don't have this time to like super reflect and, oh my God, what's happened, all this stuff, unless we go through some sort of crisis or we are looking at death, whether it is within yourself, if, there's any, terminal illnesses or just the understanding of I'm human and one day I'm going to go somewhere else, whatever the next place is, whatever you believe, right? But to use your life, to like be in your life and to cultivate and love your life, right? Because you're not guaranteed it. And that was a really hard thing for me to realize of like, oh, I just have this life and I can do what I will do with this life. But you actually have the power to be in your life and to experience your life. Now, saying that at times where there's devastation, crisis, it's really hard to be inside the body or be inside like what's going on because we need this safe zone, which is also why I have this like very cozy background, right? We have to be able to go deeper within ourselves or within our work or life or family or whatever. There has to be a safeness, a safety in this. And I learned this from my spiritual teacher, Diana Zahir. And I've been working with her for 5 years. And I understand more about this dynamic in life as an artist, as a creative, as someone who has always experienced life, but sometimes life was so overwhelming that I didn't know how to be with my life and my story while it was like exploding, while things were just like going in an unpredictable direction, or things were coming to an end and things were beginning. And so I wanted to bring the energy of sovereignty and confidence to this conversation, not only because we made it to a year, which is very exciting, A, accountability wise, and B, when you are someone who is doing it all on your own, and you are making the change for yourself. So that does require sometimes like just doing your best to stay, okay, I'm here. What's the next plan? Does that feel right to me? Is my intuition saying, yes, yes, queen, let's go? Or is my intuition being like, or my instinct is telling me, no, this is not the place for you? Um, Quick story time, because when my mom died, and it was, you know, pretty traumatic to just experience it, I went into a job that was literally like hell. And I say that because the person who was supposed to be my boss, who like just because they be your boss doesn't mean they know shit. Um, she was like possessed. She was like possessed with something. And we were actually the store that I was working at actually is in a building that catacombs, like, there are catacombs underneath this building. So I've watched plenty of ghost adventures. Okay. I understand that. Okay. So I was watching as I was with death, right? As a teacher. And I'm going through all this stuff being like, oh my God, what is this? What is life? What is this? Oh my gosh. And then I walk into a place that is possessed. I walk into a place that is filled with just negative energy, filled with desperation, and also the most unkind and truly like it wasn't appropriate. Like you didn't have to put people down when they're already feeling crushed. And it was like this interesting battleground for me because I A needed a job and B was truly shocked as to how people could treat people knowing where they're at in their life for real. Because she knew what was up. So it was shocking for me to be like, wow, people will take the opportunity. Whether you are on the top and they want to bring you down, it's much easier to bring somebody down, or when you are already down and they're like, I want to feel better about myself. So I'm going to squash you. I'm going to try to take my foot and just put it right on your neck. You know what I mean? If you're feeling that in any sort of way, leave. I don't care if you can't afford it. I don't care if it just doesn't, you don't know when or where yet. I know from experience, those are the places that slowly kill people. They kill your spirit, they kill your confidence, they kill your joy, It's sucks to come into a place where you're like, "Hey, good morning," and everyone's like, "Oh, okay. Bye." Just trying to lighten the mood, right? I just saw death in the eye. So I know what it's like to like fucking put something on. You are in charge of your energy. You're not guaranteed this life. So that was a huge moment in my experience that I felt like that this Mars and Virgo energy, right? Because Mars and Virgo, I learned later, my mom's Mars is actually in Virgo. And so that's why I'm like really leading with this story time. Um, having you learn a little bit more about me and about where I'm coming from as to why I really have worked in a really unique way, not only with my personal growth and with my developments as a person, but also as a professional, right? How do you pivot in a career? How do you start over? How do you reintroduce yourself? How do you do it all while also looking like you're not completely falling apart? Because there is a protection in privacy. And that's really where I'm coming to this story. Um, Oversharing and telling people everything and thinking that they are on your team and they're here to help you isn't always true. So you have to really ask the right questions with the people in front of you. And Mars in Virgo is encouraging us to ask the questions. I could give you a really clear example of that, of like, we are not just going to let that go. Okay. A client list, wink, wink, that people have been talking about for years. And hey, what's going on? That shit's dark, and we got to stop that. And what? Oh, it doesn't exist. Okay, moving on. Mars and Virgo. Uh-uh, uh-uh. You can't just pretend that something isn't happening. Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. Pisces energy, lovely, wisdom, wise, just the amount of of love and emotion and truly like feeling, into the psychic realm and into their own self. But if you kind of go into this place of delusion, you will be burned. You will get hurt. And you will wake up one day and go, how did I get here? So that Virgo energy wants to be really clear, especially in Mars energy. Mars is Aries bestie. You know what I mean? Mars is like Aries and Scorpio going, yes, that's right. If we gotta stand up, we gotta stand up, right? If this is not right, we gotta say something. We gotta do something. You see something, you say something, right? Well, when I was going through that work situation, I saw people see it, but say nothing. I saw people watch it happen and say nothing. I saw people look me in the eyes and go, "Oh, that was intense. That person shouldn't have said that to you." And instead of saying, "Hey, are you okay?" they just stare like it's not going to happen to them one day. So once I realized unhealthy, toxic environments, no matter how cool, no matter how much potential, no matter how much money you are or are not making in a place like that, it is meant to slowly kill you. And I say that with love. I say that with Mars and Virgo. And I say that with Pisces energy, knowing, yeah, don't go delusional. Don't go totally I don't see it, and I'm just going to keep going because that will hurt your friendships, that will hurt your relationships, that will hurt your relationship with yourself. That will also like that's a heart thing. Like you're like, "Oh man, you are betraying yourself, really." Like do you want to stand for kindness in this world and compassion and like, not killing innocent people for 2 years because as you know, 2023 was a start of something horrific. And it was so, again, my mother passing during that new moon in Virgo and me being like, what the heck? Like, I thought new moons are like new beginnings. Here we go. Whoa. I'm just like, I don't know like how I even feel about this, but like I couldn't control that at all, right? So I'm just listening. And later, about a month later, not even, uh, the world started to shift in a violent way that I was very aware since I was already, you know, plummeted into grief work and like, whoa, this is deep. Um, the world began to be what it is. And that was a year and a half. We're getting to closer to the 2 year mark. So as much as I am talking about my mother's death right now, I'm also bringing awareness to what else is happening for that long. where you just kind of crush people. And doesn't that make you feel something? Doesn't that make you feel scared that it could be you, right? It could be anybody, or just like that's not right, that kind of feeling. Or what's the plan here? Why are hospitals and places of sanctuary being torn apart in such a horrific, violent way? Why is technology being used for war? Hmm. What's the bigger plan here? Hmm. Okay. So that Mars in Virgo is saying, please don't get delusional about all of this. Please keep your head on straight. I need you to see clearly. I need you to be clear. I need you to be precise. And yes, be a little bit of a bitch. That's like the thing I like about Virgos because depending on the Virgos that some of them like don't rub people the right way because they're very much like, no. And maybe people have not heard no before, right? Or people have not heard someone say, that's okay. Sometimes it can be a little like, oh, that like kind of hurt, but okay. um, but maybe if we put a little bit of that into really specific places and conversations that we really should be having, that's helpful. That's a helpful wake up call. It's reality. It's a reality check, right? So I've really felt my mom's spirit and soul during this time, not only for this forecast, but also my parents' wedding anniversary was this month. Talk about the times after, like, what do you do? What do you say? Like, you just understand grief is all sorts of shades, colors, like experiences, and it would have been their 40th year. And I am the oldest. I'm the only woman in my family. I have a sister-in-law, but that feeling of like responsibility, making sure my dad's okay, making sure my brothers are okay with this changing time in our family dynamic. And if my emotions come up, like, duh, I'm human. And so mom, my mom's spirit was just reminding me, hey, like get your ducklings in line and do it for you, There's a lot of unspoken lessons that I was learning when she died because of everything, right? So that was her gift to me of, hey, if people aren't treating you right, or if people aren't calling you back or texting you back, like you don't feel like you have that sense of community, do not let it get you down. You just move on and you leave and do something else. Be creative. And, if people show up again, give them a chance again. But if you feel like you keep knocking at a door just to say hi and people are ignoring or just like not responding at a time where you were hoping people would make an extra effort, most especially because you're grieving, not the greatest wake up call. So I've been spending a lot of time with my mom's soul, who's been teaching me, yeah, because this is your life. And you know what? What if they're not a part of it anymore? And my Cancer moon, because we're in Cancer season, so there's emotion. There's like, how do I just leave? How do I just like break up with that thing? How do I disconnect? How do I detach, right? When we're alive and when the energies are always around, unless there's something that is very for good, like we were talking about before, it's hard to kind of do that work on your own and try to figure out, okay, I'm going to cut this cord again, Oh, I'm going to cut this cord. And listen, I've cut so many cords and you have to remember, all right, I'm doing this with love, right? Because I want these people, places, things, events, whoever, I want them to find their joy and their love, right? So when I came up against a really toxic situation with people who like literally didn't even know me, but they just were meeting me at one of my most transformative moments in my life, you really want people to extend themselves in a way to extend a hug, a note, a hey, how you doing? A smile, that it wasn't always up to me to bring in the good energy. Man, oh man, was I wrong? So I still did it because this is my practice. My practice is listen, I'm not going to let life totally get me down. I'm not bypassing the situation, but I'm going to approach my life and my day with there's got to be balance and there's got to be warmth and love and kindness. So the more I can give that to myself and also know the people that I talk to and my ripple effect, it does make a difference no matter how many bitches get in your way. Okay. And people who are just miserable, who are like, no, no, I don't want to be that. Nah. You're like, okay, like have fun being miserable. I am also not going to help you with that, but I'm going to still shine my shine. Okay. Thank you. That's also very Cancer energy because Cancer, since we're in Cancer season, emotional intelligence. So, since we're spending time with that Mars and Virgo, that's like, please don't get caught up in delusion, baby. Okay. Be real. Look at what's going on. Take notes. Like, do what you need to do to be prepared for the unexpected and unpredictable, right? Take care of yourself and take care of your family. Sometimes that's all we have. So if I'm talking to you and you have like a big community or you have like, you're popular on different platforms or like you get a lot of validation in some way, just to let you know, one day you may feel the opposite of that, whether it's criticism, rejection, you know, something just doesn't land, or people just like move on. And you're like, hey, hello, like I thought this was what this was, and you feel like you're the only one at this party that everyone used to go to. So a lot of that Virgo energy was also reminding me, hey, reach out to people who are real. Reach out to people who feel good, not only to you, but when you are in crisis, who's really reaching out and giving that warm hug, that warm smile, just for a moment, right? Because that's really what this life is about. Let's not let this horrific, terrible, what the fuck is happening to this world and to people on a lot of different places, not only speaking on, the genocide that is happening, but also our neighbors, friends, family, people who we care very, very much about are being kidnapped and taken to some center for immigrants. No, 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 no. That is not the land of the free. And that is not, I mean, maybe it is America, right? We haven't had a downfall yet, a total downfall. We've been on top all the time. Our Pluto our Pluto return is happening in America. So maybe we're going to see that. I'm talking to you millennials going, holy shit, we may see the downfall of America. We may actually be a part of it. All right. So how do we not let this? Now, millennials, we've seen and experienced so many different unpredictable, unexplained, terrible situations, going from like 9/11 to the economy just like plummeting, crashes, house marking crashes, house, you know, all that stuff. And that's just like within a short period of time. But as prices rise, as there is a agenda to make you feel squished and squashed and crushed, I would like to remind you, don't let those people get you down. Don't let that system or those people who it's much easier to pull you down than bring you up, you know? So we're going to be hanging around people who are going to bring us up in the world. So if you feel like you're being put down, pushed down, or just a little here, a little there, we don't got time for that. We don't got time for that, okay? For many reasons. So this Mars and Virgo energy was like, get your ducklings in a row yourself. So that's what I had to do, which is why It's July 16th. And I'm giving you this forecast now because I had to do my own work. I had to make sure that I had everything that I needed. And I was working with the astrology. The astrology was like, nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. So we've already been through that Venus going into Gemini. You're in it. We're in it. Okay, it's already happened. That Neptune went retrograde in Aries. Yep, that already happened on the 4th. Happy 4th of July. Interesting. What was that like for you? What did you reflect on, especially if you live in America? And then Uranus goes into Gemini. So we got Venus in Gemini, Uranus in Gemini. Okay, like what's going on? We got some what's happening over here, We got a full moon in Capricorn that also went on the 10th. Went, everybody, are we all buckled in? Do we all have our things together? Capricorns don't fool around with this shit, okay? Capricorns are like, I need you to be real with yourself. And in a Cancer season, where it is all about the home, the heart, the love for family or for the family within yourself, it doesn't have to be a literal family. Like, what does family mean to you? Your tribe, people that you can come to, people that you can go to that will hold you and will help you. Those are the people that we want to call forth even more so, because those are the important figures in your life. Now, there's always room for forgiveness if and when that needs to happen. Some people are very insecure and will never, ever come up to you and say, I was wrong, or like, I was a fucking asshole. I'm so sorry. Like, not everybody has that. Okay. So you have to also like just kind of do it on your own. DIY, do it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Do it yourself, inner work. And it can be lonely, it can be isolating. I get it. I get it. Which is why we are going to what makes you feel good? Who makes you feel good? Like, what is that around you? Let's just focus on your support system. Now, of course, I'm gonna give myself a little shout out. This broadcast is brought to you by Caitlin, who is a certified coach who would love to work with you. So definitely check out my link if you're looking for a coach or someone who can literally be that person for you to help you be clear and get that support. Hi, I'm right here. So, oh, I'm going to do something cool. I'm going to put a QR code right here and you can just contact me right there. Boop, beep, 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 beep. Because beep, 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 beep. Because you got to be creative, right? So now we're here on the 16th and Mars and Virgo went, okay, boo. I need you to just be real with this forecast because tomorrow on the 17th, Mercury goes retrograde in Leo. And it's going to be there until August 11th. Now, P.S., we're already in a pretty big retrograde. And this retrograde, that's not even Mercury retrograde. We're used to Mercury retrogrades. Okay. Whether you believe in it or not, whatever. Like it happens 3 to 4 times a year. Sometimes it does fuck with things. I don't know. Just like do what you need to do during this time to review, reflect, like get your ducklings in a row. You know what I'm saying? Don't leave one stranded. Go get it. So go get your ducklings. But have you ever seen those videos where it's like they just know what to do? They follow the mama. They know, But then there's that one little duckling that like gets caught up in something or like, kind of like whatever. And then that mama duckling or that mama who has all these other ducklings are like, oh, okay, I have to like go get that one duckling that's struggling, right? But I have to move the whole family or the whole group to a place so then I could go get that duckling, right? So, oh, look at that. Oh, I just got an offer on my Poshmark. Yes. Oh my God. Sometimes I've been selling. Okay. Also, let's do another shout out. This broadcast is brought to you by Poshmark because I have sold 27. Now it's going to be 28 items of clothing since January of this year. And it was me being real about what I got in my closet, what I want to devote myself with the planet of how I can actually be better when it comes to clothes and stuff and whatever. And also my mom, gave me a beautiful gift, which was her online store of like all of her beautiful things that she was selling. So it gave me the opportunity to really be with my mom's soul and spirit. So every time something sells, I feel like she's very much here, and she is. Uh, so, so that retrograde, I did not tell you what it was yet, the big one. So Saturn just went into Aries. You already know that. It's now retrograde. Okay. So from here, January or July 12th, that happened on Saturday, until November 27th. Now, reason why I'm probably bringing a lot of Virgo into this is because Virgo is like September time, right? And when all of a sudden, school's back into session and like the summer just went by and we're back into like, they don't even give you a moment before it's holiday season, okay? I went to Marshall's, they're already bringing out the Halloween stuff and I'm like, too soon. Too soon. As much as I love Halloween, too soon. At least give me until like August. You know what I mean? Like too soon to see Halloween, but they will rush you. That's the whole point. The whole point is they want you to kind of get caught up in all the change and all the stuff, and everything's moving and you're getting squashed and pinched just a little bit more and more and more. And then the time goes by and the time goes by. And then you're like, oh my God, it's been years. What happened between this time and this time? Another big reason brought to you by this forecast to help us just click in and remind ourselves, all right, time is time, right? We'll have a whole nother conversation of what is time. But in this moment in time, we can be present with it, right? And I can actually have moments with the calendar with July of 2025 and actually acknowledge it, that it's happening and that it did happen. And sometimes, as you know, I will post things right at the beginning of the month. And sometimes I will post them even before the month. I think it was March or something. I was like, yeah, I already have the forecast done and it's not even March 1st. That has only happened a few times. And then we go into like, oh, life is happening, reality. All right, when you're a one woman show, you're a one woman show. So I really focused this early July on two big things. Not only the entire year that this forecast has brought me into practice with, but also the understanding we need to stay clear. Now, I'm not a cult. I know like a lot of cults use this like staying clear and, clarity and all this stuff. It's very marketable, very, very marketable because everyone's confused and everyone's a little lost and everyone's like overwhelmed by the production aspect of what this American lifestyle is with work and life. There is no balance, right? Even when they try to sell it to you, we still know there's no balance. Because then they'll be like, when I said work-life balance, I actually meant like more work. And then the life stuff will come into balance. Interesting. So that Saturn is retrograde in Aries. That's going to time warp some people. Now, because I don't want this podcast to be super political or anything, because I don't know what's going to happen moving forward if they start censoring people. That is happening in countries like Germany. Like you can't talk about certain things or like, I don't know details, but I was like, what? Free speech in a way is just, ooh, you can or cannot say this, then this turns into this, and then this and this. Very interesting. And especially at a time where technology is taking off, right? We need humans in our life. We need humans in our life. We also need to be human, right? So that Saturn retrograde in Aries is going to be our daily reminder to stay grounded. There's a reason why I actually just deleted my Instagram app on my phone because I was scrolling too much. And same with Threads. I was scrolling and I was seeing news and I was getting caught up in it. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Like, and I recognized, wait a minute, let me pop out of this for a second and come into my own senses. All right. What can I do to help people during this super crazy, ridiculous time warp that may or may not be happening currently, but will definitely feel like it's happening with the Saturn retrograde in Aries because it's going to fly through November, November 27th. And I found myself slowing down and writing because the pen to paper became way more important to me than typing another frickin' email or something, you know? So there's also another, oh wait, let me go get it. Oh my gosh, she's sitting on the couch. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Yes. Oh my gosh, you can see. Boom. C E O. Oh. Okay, wait. Let me go like this so then you could actually see it with my background. So this is the CEO business playbook. Okay, hold on. Let me just take off my background for a second. Adjust background. Okay. Hello. Yeah, you get to see. This is my office. This is like what's going on a day to day. Okay. So this is the CEO business playbook. Yes. And this, I'll give you a little preview, right? Let's see where are we at. Ooh, the macro cortical and the 90-day vision board. Okay, so this is your go-to during this time, especially if you are a coach and you have a lot of other people's stuff going on. Okay. It's not only just oh, let's do another one. Let's do this one. Oh, I love this one because this gives like a nice um like over here. I just love that like sun uh that light. So now you can do your own, your own research. I will put another QR code over here where you can read all about my Substack article about why I made this playbook, how I made this playbook. And I've been talking to founders, musicians, artists, coaches, authors. Who else have I coached with a lot? Just entrepreneurs, creatives, just like people who have a lot going on, right? And they have to self-reflect and they also have to keep themselves accountable to continue and to keep going. And I noticed I was having the same conversations and I was using the same methods and like I was bringing people through a very specific 16-week cycle of like working with me. And I thought, okay, maybe 3 months, that's good. That's what people will need. And I actually found out that like two of the clients I was working with at the same time wanted to extend another month. So I was understanding like, okay, this takes time, right? And the work that I'm doing with people is not only deep, but it is beneficial because they are transforming themselves, they're going through a transformation of some sort to get to that next place, that other side of their business, themselves, their leadership, their clarity, right? Buzzword, but their authenticity as well. There are so many people out in the world doing the same exact thing as you. And sometimes it's just a really, really great example of like, I like this background better. It's just like a really great example of reminding yourself you still are important. What you're doing still matters, right? Like, still put your stuff out into the world. One day I'm going to look at this and be like, listen, y'all, I don't really have that many people watching this stuff, or like, I think I have less than 20 subscribers on Substack or something, but I kept going at it, right? You have to keep going. And actually, one of my clients that I was coaching with, and she wanted to do Substack, so we like set her up to Substack. She was like, she just needed something. She needed something to creatively express. She needed to express all the stuff that was going on inside of her. She started her Substack, and now she's got like 50, I think 50 or 60 subscribers. And I was like, girl, this is so good. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, we did it, and so I encourage you during this time to creatively express yourself. And something like this will help you. I'll do a whole, showing you what's inside. And I'm doing a workshop in August, which I also would love to invite you to. I will put the QR code over here. I love that now I need to like just remind myself I'm the one who's going to be also editing this video. So So no, I'm going to be like, wait, where was that QR code? Ah, but that's what happens when you're working with yourself and you are an entrepreneur, right? So, so that Saturn retrograde in Aries, we are going to need some tools. And I made one for you. And it's available actually in my link. So you can also buy that there. Oh, look, I'll make it very easy for you. Here's another QR code that goes directly to the book. And this is not just for coaches. I marketed it specifically for coaches because I have a section where it's, oh, wait, I have to take off my my background again. Hold on, hold on. I'm like at my standing desk. So, because I just recognize I like really wanted to stand more often. Okay. As you can see, that's like where I do my photos and stuff because I'm also a photographer. So like you can see that's all like my photos and my paintings. Clearly, this is all my plans. This is my creative brain. And then of course, hello, all my books, all my happiness. So here we have um, your client command center. So when I was starting coaching, I was like so overwhelmed by the note taking because I was working with so many people, but I didn't really love putting everything in Google Docs. But yes, I could type as quickly as I can. But then sometimes I was like, wait, you guys got to take your own notes with all this. Like, why am I taking notes on you and your business? And like, then you just keep going and you're not reflecting on your own notes. So I got really specific and really precise about what we're working on, how we're working on it, and then how we reflect and we come back to the goal. Is this what we're talking about today? Is this where we want to go today? Because sometimes people just be like, I'm just going to tell you everything and continue to go in the circles that I'm feeling on a day to day. And you have to like help people stop spiraling and stop spinning. And sometimes when you're that person, you have to learn how to observe this energy because you can feel it. Sometimes it's like really intense, especially if you're a very sensitive person. You can like literally kind of feel it either in your nervous system or your mind, or just like it's just kind of like, ooh, there's a lot going on with my client right now. Instead of being sucked into it and kind of like what I was describing with my teacher Diana, she would teach about merging and about being an individual. So I learned don't merge with your clients or like with your career, with, your romantic partner. You have to be an individual. You have to have that space, right? You can see each other clearly. You have to be on your side of the street. So I've really integrated a lot of that stuff, learning a lot about life. Hello. And how important that is. So I would love for you to come to the workshop where I'm just going to dive right in. It's going to be not only creative, it's going to have a spiritual aspect, as in like just emotionally, you're just going to feel yourself more. Sometimes that can feel like a spiritual experience for people, and sometimes it just feels like they're coming back to themselves. Soul retrieval, or just like being back within your soul and giving your soul time to just be with it, can be it can be a beautiful experience for anyone. And I encourage people to have that experience on their own, to learn it so then they can remind themselves, oh, hey, I can talk to myself. I could talk to my soul about this because my soul, myself, my life, my purpose.